The Florida Keys are great because they're just this stretch of islands off of southern Florida that just seem to go on for miles and miles and miles. And just offshore is the Florida Reef, which is one of the biggest barrier reefs in the world. And honestly, right now, it's not doing so hot.
It once was thriving, but since the 1970s, due to pollution, climate change, a variety of things, now only about 10% of that reef is active and living.
That's alarming because 1/4 of all marine life lives on or near reefs. Schools of fish, sea turtles, and crustaceans make their homes and find food on the reefs. A healthy reef also protects these fragile islands against storm surges from bad weather.
So without them, we're not really sure what would happen. And so we're gonna get to learn exactly what's being done to try to revitalize these essential coral reefs.
The Florida Keys begin just south of Miami and extend 120 miles out to Key West. The Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary, where efforts are underway to save the reef, encompasses all of it.
Yeah, the plan for the next couple of days is to check out the state of the reef and then also find out how we can help repair or restore some of this coral that has unfortunately been dying off.
Sadly, people are loving the reef to death by leaving behind tons of garbage. We'll be heading out to open water with a company called Key Dives to help collect some of that debris.
So going out on a dive boat, one thing is guaranteed, you're gonna get wet. This bag, it's mesh, everything by the end of the day is gonna be soaked. So a great tip is I always leave a nice pair of warm clothes in the car. That way, I know that I'm gonna be dry at the end of the day.
That is smart. One of my biggest pet peeves is being soggy and wet. So having that spare set of clothes is wise.
It's huge.
Hello.
Hey guys, you ready to go clean up the ocean?
So
Yes.
ready.
All right, good deal.
This cleanup program has already pulled thousands of pounds of debris from these waters. Courtney Benson is the Marine Conservation Coordinator here.
The idea of being able to do something that I love while also helping give back and clean up the reef is such a cool opportunity.
Exactly, these are my favorite dives to do because we are going out there and doing good.
What are we gonna find down there?
So there's a lot of lobster traps, there's a lot of anchors, there's a lot of line from both of those that gets wrapped around the coral and entangles the coral.
The debris can crush or break off existing parts of the reef and prevent new coral from growing where it lands.
You said boat anchors.
Right.
How does that even work?
So we're gonna have lift bags. So we fill these up with air with our alternate. So we can lift up to about 100 pounds, 200 if we have a larger lift bag.
And if something found is in good condition, it can be lifted out and used again.
Okay, we'll just follow your lead.
Sounds great.
As we're getting ready to take off,
Oh man.
we notice a Florida manatee calf in the water. They're nicknamed sea cows because they graze on seagrass and can grow bigger than 1,200 pounds. These air-breathing herbivores are curious creatures known to surface around humans.
Unfortunately, that puts them at risk of being injured by boats and their motor blades, so we're being very careful as we head out. We're heading to a depth of about 90 feet, so it takes longer to get down and eventually back up. We need to keep an eye on our air levels at all times. And just like that, we're in another world.
Coral is made up of thousands of very tiny creatures called polyps. Each polyp uses calcium carbonate or limestone from the seawater to create a hard skeleton. When thousands of polyps fuse together, they form the structure of a coral reef. I look to my left and see we have company. It's a hawksbill sea turtle named for its narrow, pointed beak. They help maintain the reef's health by picking away at sponges and other prey living on the coral.
This is how a healthy reef ecosystem looks. But as we swim along, we start to see a reef that is in decline. There's less color here, a result of something called coral bleaching. Coral that's stressed by changes in temperature, light, or nutrients releases algae living in its tissues. Without the algae to help create color, the coral turns white and becomes more susceptible to disease and dying. Debris makes it worse.
And we're starting to find it. I start working on a snarl of fishing line that seems to be going on forever. The trick is getting the line loose without damaging the coral.
While Colton's working on the line, I spot an anchor and its rope, which goes on and on. You can see how pulling on it could damage the coral. I carefully start cutting and collecting the rope, and Courtney gives me a lift bag for hoisting up the anchor. I'm using air from my tank to inflate the bag so it will act like a balloon and help lighten this load when we ascend to the surface. I'm so focused on getting the anchor off the bottom, I don't even notice what's swimming towards me, but Colton does. We're in the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary in about 90 feet of water, helping to clean up debris that's damaging a coral reef. I'm trying to lift a discarded anchor when Colton starts yelling something through his regulator. I'm so focused on the anchor and the bag that I don't even see a shark swimming right behind me. It's a nurse shark, easily identified by its dark color and the whisker-like organs called barbels that hang near its jaw. As sharks go, nurses are pretty laid back, and this one just keeps swimming. It's time to head back to the surface. Even with the lift bag, this anchor is still extremely heavy, so we take turns carrying it.
Wow, look at this
Man.
pile.
That's a haul.
Yeah, you guys did an awesome job for your first cleanup dive.
Sweet.
Yeah,
That's
thank
good to
you.
hear.
I think the most challenging thing for me was trying to get the rope untangled from the coral without damaging the coral itself.
And what really got me was swimming, holding onto that anchor.
Right, love work.
Yeah, it took it out of me. Like I was sucking down the air. I had to hand it off to you. So I was like, I don't want to run out.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave any questions or comments that you have.
And please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more to come.